is how we put up the film. Pretty simple process. You just cut to size. Make sure you've got your pattern where you want it to go, so you're going to cut and measure for that. Clean the glass really well, scrape it with the razor blade. First, I would recommend scrape it, make sure it's all good and clean.
And our window is clean, what you're seeing on the windows on the outside.
Right. Yeah, that's outside, that'll be picked up later, but this is the inside done. Then once that's clean, then a little bit of Windex, make sure, we'll go back over it, make sure it's good and clean. Then you come back, measure your window, make sure you get your width and your height for your piece, and then you're going to cut that. If you've got a big table, that's great. Have a long straight edge so you can really dig into it with a sharp razor blade to get your nice, crisp, clean cuts. Then to install it, it's really simple. You get a nice bottle of window film application solution, or you can use water and dish soap, but I'm not doing that. I'm using the application stuff we got at Lowe's. You want to make sure you get it thoroughly wet. Make sure you get it up in the corners, along the edges. Make sure this stays wet the whole time you're applying it. The wetter it is, the better actually. If it does dry out and while you're putting it on, just shoot it again. So that's what you do. You get it good and wet. Then you're going to peel the film off. The backing. Do not get this back wet. This has to stay dry. Then you just peel this off. It's almost like a cling wrap. If it does stick to itself, it'll just come right apart. You want to leave about a 16th gap, 30-second gap on the corners. I like to do it this way. It's just my personal preference. You can choose how you want to. I get this first corner lined up down here. This way I'm only have to cut two sides. Get it lined up down here. And you make sure you have your gap. That is recommended by the manufacturer for the windows. Coming across the bottom. And you can see it moves pretty good when it's wet. And it will dry, and that will make it cling to the window and stick. But get it in there. And then you're good right there. Then you want to take your scraper and then scrape from the center out to the edge. Get rid of the bubbles and the water behind it so that it cleans. And you can see the bubble right here, and you just push it out. And yes, I'm applying pressure going forward and backwards on this just to make sure that it's good and flat. Make sure it pushes all the liquid out. Then you can feel it's perfectly stuck to it. Then over here, sometimes this will dry out. You just take your bottle, shoot a little bit back in there, make sure it stays wet. This will be the last corner that I do. All I'm doing here is just creasing it up in here, which will help when I cut it here in a minute. Get it into the corner. And then do the same thing over here. Just work it all the way down. You're eliminating your bubbles. Smoothing it out. And there's going to be water coming out of the bottom, so have yourself a towel. Don't fret. It'll dry. Okay. Now this cutter comes with the kit. If you buy a kit at Lowe's, and if you can zoom in, it's a little bitty blade on the end. And this is the natural, so if you put this flat up against it, that's your distance that you can, it gives you your distance here, your, that's what I'm looking for.
Gap?
Yeah, your gap. So that's what you want. Then you just stick it up here in the corner. Firm pressure, pull all the way, don't start and stop, because it'll pull the window film off. And you can see it just comes loose. Okay, and then I like to take a sharp razor blade, and I can see what my straight line is doing here because I've already made my score, if you will, by pushing this up in there. So I can take the sharp razor blade, if you don't feel comfortable doing it this way, you can always still use this. I just find it easier to do that. You can still see it fits right up in there perfect because I did score it first. Now that I can tell is already drying out because I shouldn't be able to do that. So once again, you just shoot a little bit of water up there and that's all you have to do. And you come back here on this side. Like I said, I'm just pushing this in here, getting a little score on it, getting my cutter, coming back into place. Okay. And then smoothing everything out. Dry your water off. And you're done.